and members of the committee, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here. As president of NEA, 3.2 million people who work in public schools all across this country, from pre-K to graduate. And I come to you as a high school math teacher for 23 years. That's my real job for many, many years. One of the things that's very exciting to me is to listen to all of the people speak and how we really do have agreement on what it is we need to do. That the status quo is not acceptable. That high-needs schools must become priority schools, and that we must have change. We just recently did a report at NEA, and the title of that report was Children of Poverty Deserve Great Teachers, One Union's Commitment to Changing the Status Quo. But when we talk about change, I want to point out two very important things. Number one, in systems change, it says it's not enough to do one little piece. You can't change one part of the whole system and expect the whole system to change. The other thing about system change that always really just drives me each and every day is when they say that in any system, the results it produces are the exact results it was designed to do, which says to us in America that we have designed a system for high poverty students that year after year after year are treated in a way they should not be treated. So the question then is, how do we change that system? The second thing about change is people's reaction. Some say it causes stress. Some say that resisting change causes stress. Dilbert says, change is good, you go first, which is kind of everyone's expectation that if someone else would change, then I wouldn't have to. But the truth is we all must change. My own personal philosophy, it has a lot to do with satisfaction. For those who are satisfied with the current system, there is no demand for change or call for change. And so I would hope that you are not only dissatisfied, but you are gloriously dissatisfied. That you will not tolerate a system in America that for too many of our youth, 1.2 million a year, are exiting the system without a high school diploma. The other thing about reaction to change is the reaction is very different if it's done to you or with you. The other thing that is such an agreement here today is the effect of teachers on students and learning. It is absolutely the key. And from my point of view, there's not enough attention paid to the practice of teaching. It is a profession. I do not believe that anyone with a degree in math can do what I do in a classroom. I would hope no one would walk into the classroom without that knowledge. But you know, in some of the toughest classes I teach, my master's degree in math really isn't at issue. I know how to do all the problems in the book. The issue is, how do you translate that to a group of students who have challenges way beyond the problems in the book? It's about practice. In law, in medicine, and in Congress, we don't evaluate the effectiveness in any of those professions by a single measure. We take into account multiple things that define effectiveness. The good part about this problem is it is within our power to change it. For NEA, a couple of years ago, we started talking to nationally board certified teachers to say, and held summits in 6 different states, talked to more than 2,000 of them saying, what is it that we would have to do differently to entice you to come to these schools of high need, priority schools? What they said is they need to have good principals, who know how to lead and support teacher leaderships. There must be a commitment to creative teaching and learning inquiry, not handing a teacher a script to read in front of first graders. There must be the opportunity to participate in a team of qualified people who collectively take the responsibility for student learning. And there must be sufficient resources, whether it be technology, libraries, supplies, connection to health and public services. But the overall thing, more than money, more than anything, is that the working and learning conditions matter most. When you look at this system we are trying to change, it has an oversupply of teachers who are inexperienced, unlicensed, and assigned out of field. 40% of all core subject teachers are out of field. 2 to 3 times the turnover rate of other schools in the same district. It's a revolving door where there's a new group of people there almost every 2 years. The teacher evaluation system is either non-existent or not used. And many administrators are ill-trained and have inadequate tools and skills in order to do it. They have no ability to distinguish between an excellent, an average, or a poor teacher. Teacher evaluation. I remember from my first involvement, state statute in Arizona said teacher evaluation is for the improvement of instruction. If that is its purpose, how dare you design a system where someone came into my room for 15 minutes once during the year? How in the world does that impact the improvement of instruction? We need to design new systems. And that teacher evaluation system, you need to know what its purpose is. It's not to find a few inadequate teachers. It's to improve the practice of all teachers, which means it must be directly tied to a professional development system. When we find weaknesses, if the person can't or won't improve, they shouldn't be there. But it must be a system to get them to be effective teachers. Focus on practice. So with that, I would say to you, the good news is this is something we can change, and the NEA is committed to make that change happen. Thank you, sir.